our philosophy is that it's got to be better than the last batch. Otherwise, what's the point?
And it's seasonal, right? So
Yes.
everything's being harvested in the wild. So if it was like a really cold year, a really wet year, things will taste different. And so you kind of have to play with it a little bit to get some consistency, but then take advantage of the qualities of the botanicals from that particular season. So we kind of have to plan our year out and pick our botanicals when the best season is for you. We harvest in the winter. Because during the winter the tree pulls certain components back into the tree and doesn't leave it in the branches, and it results in a better flavor.
On a production level,
It's complicated.
It's complicated, but we work with great suppliers and we have full transparency right down to who's even picking them.
Okay.
So yeah, I think my favorite botanical is probably chaga. It's quite complex. It really balances out the cedar, and it's a product.
It's like the bass note.
Yeah.
Like in a song, it would be like the bass line that kind of just hums
Just
underneath everything,
Kind of compliments.
rounds it out.
Yeah, and to me, it adds that essence of Canada. It's an antioxidant. It's been used in herbology for years, centuries.
Thousands of years.
Yeah. We started Laneway in our garage.
In our laneway.
In our laneway, which is
Yes.
hasten the word. It was hard when you scale up, right? You're balancing out these botanicals and distilling them, even down to how long we were steeping them and which base alcohol we were using. So every time we developed a really sweet point in Evergen. It was almost emotional drinking it in the garden. We were like, oh my God, this is it, yes! And then trying to upscale it is also another challenge. You have to work with someone who's as passionate as you are to try and capture it. So you need to have that taste understanding of what we're trying to get.
So you get all these beautiful, delicate green floral notes, and you just get a lot more of the interesting botanical flavor. I get very intense when, when I'm talking about flavors.
It's great.
Both of us know what we like. When we started this crazy journey, which it is a crazy journey to think that you're just having fun, right? You want to make something that you enjoy. And then now 190 LCBOs and expanding. And so it's kind of crazy. But we both knew what we liked and we knew what we were trying to achieve. Sometimes we forget just how good our gin is because we haven't tasted it in a while because we're working. Your head's down so much that you forget
it's
to
like
enjoy the
drinking gin
product.
is work now.
I know. I say that to friends and they're
really
like,
terrible.
yeah, that sounds awful. But yeah, sometimes we forget just like how good. And all our gins are different. So Evergin has a totally different flavor profile to number 11 and then to number 33.
And then I guess the other thing is, I think, in answer to your question about chemist, like a flavor chemist, I actually think it's more art than science. Because often, and even you might know this in cooking, but you'll take two flavors that on paper should be amazing together, and then a third flavor that tastes amazing with those two, and you combine it and it just falls flat, or it just doesn't work, or the flavors cancel each other out. So you'll start building it and add a new component that you think will just make it sing, and it will just kill the whole thing. So it's almost like you can't do it by chemistry. You have to be creative, you have to taste as you go, you have to experiment, you have to really be more intuitive than really scientific and creating the flavors. So that's what makes it so fun. As long as you're creative and you're in tune with what you're doing.
Our spirits are all at 43.5%. It's because our spirits are so smooth that when we were dropping it down to 40 and below, you were almost like, is this even alcoholic? And it didn't balance out. With our botanicals that we were using, we found that a higher alcohol level actually balanced out the botanicals. And it's also this beautiful amber color in the bottle. It really, pronounces itself well. And then it sits really well with our vodka, which is I am a vodka drinker now. But in Ontario, vodka makes up about 38% of the market. So it seemed that, when we were partners with the LCBO, vodka was always at the top of their mind. And so we worked hard to come out with something that was a contemporary vodka in the true nature of what a vodka is. We have essence of maple in it, but there is no maple. It's all been reverse osmosis out. So that water we take, we're given about 8 days to collect the water that we want, and then we freeze it for the rest of the year and pull it out as we make the vodka. So both the Ever Gin and our vodka are perfectly paired with the maple story. We've had pushback on the fact that our vodka is 43.5% until people taste it, and then they're like, whoa, that's so smooth. There's no burn, it's very, very clean. It's almost got a soft velvet mouthfeel. So yeah, we won platinum this year from the San Francisco Spirits Awards. That means we've won double gold 3 years in a row. So we also show consistency in that vodka. We're the only company in Canada in 2023 to win that platinum in any category, which is a really big deal. We're not sure what to do with it, but we're told it's a really big deal. You can drink it straight. Doesn't even need to be chilled.
In Parkdale, where we both lived at the time, the streets all have alleyways behind them, laneways.
Yes.
And so we shared a laneway and our kids would play back there together. So we just naturally started talking about gin because it's at the forefront of both our minds at all times.
It was like, so I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? I'm thinking this is an amazing idea. And then
She said, I'm thinking of starting a gin company. And in my head, I was like, I want in. I don't care how, but I am going to be a part of this.
and we've never looked back. Like
That was it.
Yeah.
I just, and she's like, well, I don't want to do it alone. So that works out very well.
Yeah, that was.
It is so much nicer to have somebody in part of the dirt. That's
Yeah, I mean, we've done crazy. Like, we're not distillers. We don't have parents that own distilleries. We both have run companies. Before this is kind of like our second or third venture, and making a product that you can also enjoy is a really good idea. And yeah, our gin is the best. Well, we have 3 of the best gins in Ontario, if not Canada. And to be honest, let's be honest, who am I kidding? In the world. I mean, we might as well just put it all the way out there and go for it, because if you don't believe in your own product, who's going to? We have certainly the best vodka in Canada, if not the world, in 2023. It's well-rounded, contemporary, smooth, doesn't take your lipstick off.
And so when we met, I had a job. I had my own design agency, and we did food branding and packaging. So I always had this dream of having my own product, and over the years I had so many ideas, but the one that actually stuck, that my husband and I talked about all the time, or he listened to me talk about all the time, was doing maybe like a liqueur or some kind of alcohol that expressed the spirit of Canada. So say when you go to Italy and you go to a small village, and after dinner they plop a bottle down on the table, and it's the local Amaro or limoncello, and it tastes like the fields around you smell.
Yeah.
So whatever the local wild herbs and flowers that are growing, and it really expresses that. And then we thought, well, Canada's huge. We're known for our wilderness. Why do we not have a product that expresses that characteristic, right?
Yeah.
So on our website, we say, well, Canada has 10 million square kilometers of terroir, which it does.
Yeah.
And so how do we express that? And so that was in my mind right away when Jessica said gin company. I'm like, it could be a gin. We'll call it a gin. It'll be a Canadian gin. It will be that product that expresses Canada. Because one of the main botanicals is juniper, which it's like a low growing kind of evergreen bush that the berries really express all those piney notes and the notes of the soil. And it seemed like a natural fit. So that was that was my impetus, whereas Jessica, I think, was coming at it from a more British gin angle. So she was picturing the gins she grew up with, which are more kind of traditional gins. And
Yeah,
I was picturing something more Canadian, and I think we've done a beautiful kind of blend of the two approaches.
It's Canada in a bottle. But it conceptually came from a love of Canada from both of us, but was driven by Reagan's incredible knowledge of botanicals, food, great suppliers. We work with really good suppliers. And then
who I met with over the years in my, all the food branding and packaging and going to foodie events, just being fascinated by all the different people out there collecting wild botanicals and coming up with different flavors. I always kind of kept track of them over the years, what they were doing. So then when we started our own product, I knew exactly who I wanted to reach out to supply our ingredients.
And they've been incredibly supportive. Like, you can't do this without like good partnerships.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's really lonely. It would also not be very fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we've all learned that whatever we do in our lives, you have to enjoy what you're doing.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, number 33 is my level of complexity, both in gin and personality. It's a sipping gin. It's not for everyone. It's very complex and over ice. It changes as you drop the temperature of any alcohols. You'll get different notes coming out of it. But we use over 33 different botanicals. I was then looking with Reagan on board, looking at new trends and how gin isn't just about some of the classic industry standard ones. There were a whole new contemporary gins coming out that were sipping gins that take you on a journey of their spices and botanicals and where you're traveling. Both Reagan and I have loved traveling. Who doesn't love traveling? So when I drink number 33, it encapsulates a lot of my trips out to Asia and the businesses that I've done out there and the people I've worked with and friends, and same with Reagan. It takes you on a total journey.